Do you remember it? That feeling when the streetlights coming on was your only curfew. When you knew not just the name of every neighbor on your block, but their kids' names, their dog's name, maybe even their favorite hockey team. Remember when the sound of summer wasn't the constant hum of air conditioners, but the laughter of kids playing road hockey, their calls echoing until twilight finally settled in. Those days in Canada, from the 60s through the 80s, felt different, didn't they? A trip to the local Dominion or IGA wasn't just about grabbing milk and bread. It was a community event. You'd bump into friends in the aisles, catch up on gossip by the canned goods, and the cashier knew you by name. It was a social outing, a thread in the fabric of the neighborhood, not just a chore to be rushed through. Life felt simpler, more human. The world outside our front door felt like an extension of our living room. We'd sit on the porch steps, watching the world go by, chatting with anyone who passed. There was a sense of trust, a shared understanding that we were all in this together. Kids would organize massive games of hide and seek that spanned entire blocks, and no one worried. We just knew to be home when we heard our name called for dinner. Looking back at these old photos with their faded colors and soft edges, it's like peering through a window into a world that's gone. See these suburban streets? The cars might look like antiques now, but the life teeming on the sidewalks feels so vibrant, so real. It's a gentle ache, a sweet kind of sadness, to know those specific moments. That particular version of Canada will never return. But the feeling, that feeling of community, of connection, of simpler joys, that's something we can carry with us. Maybe we can't go back, but we can remember. We can cherish what we had and maybe, just maybe, try to bring a little bit of that spirit back into our lives today. Say hi to a neighbor. Let the kids play outside a little longer. If you miss that Canada, the one that lives on in our collective memory, then you're in the right place. Thanks for taking this trip back in time with me. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more journeys into the past. See you next time. Remember when your neighbors weren't just the people living next door? They were an extension of your family, a real part of your life. You'd just knock on their door, unannounced, and they'd do the same. It was normal. Think back to those heavy Canadian winters. You'd wake up to a driveway buried in snow, and before you could even grab your own shovel, your neighbor was already out there, clearing a path for you. Nobody asked him to. That's just how it was. That was community. Kids were a shared responsibility, running freely from house to house. Their laughter was the soundtrack of the street. In the mornings, you'd find moms gathered on a porch, sipping coffee and sharing stories. The men would be out in the driveways, hoods up on old cars, tinkering away while talking about hockey scores and the week's work. And the summers, the summers were magical. The smell of barbecue would drift through the backyards. Everyone was invited. You'd just bring a salad or a dessert to share. While the adults chatted late into the warm evening air, the kids would play a game of street baseball under the setting sun. Life happened together. When someone got sick, meals would magically appear on their doorstep. When someone passed away, the whole neighborhood went to the funeral, not out of obligation, but because those people genuinely mattered to you. They were your people. Today, things feel different. How many of us can honestly say we know our next door neighbor's name? Our doors stay closed. Our schedules are packed. We're always busy. That deep sense of community, that feeling of belonging to something bigger than just our own four walls, it feels like it's fading away. And I think a lot of us really, truly miss that. It wasn't just the neighbors, was it? It was the whole fabric of the neighborhood. Do you remember your local corner store? That little market where the owner greeted you by name, maybe even had a nickname for you. He knew exactly what you liked and would set aside that special product that only you seemed to buy. If you were a little short on cash before payday, he'd just say, "Pay me next week." These shops were the beating heart of the community. You didn't just go there for milk and bread. You went there to connect, to catch up on the local news, to ask how the owner's family was doing. You did get the best cut of meat from the butcher because he knew just how you liked it. The baker would save you the freshest loaf because you were a regular. The pharmacist didn't just hand you a bottle. They knew your history and would watch out for you. At the hardware store, the owner wasn't just selling you a wrench. He was teaching you how to fix the leak, empowering you to solve the problem yourself. Saturday afternoons, those places were buzzing. People would stop and chat in the aisles. The owner might slip a piece of candy to the kids. It was so much more than just a transaction. It was our social life, unfolding right there between the shelves. Now, we have massive chain stores. Sure, things might be cheaper, faster, more efficient. But you walk in and you walk out, often without saying a word to a single soul. Nobody knows your name. Nobody asks how you are. In our rush for convenience, it feels like we've traded away something incredibly precious. We lost that human connection. What are your memories of a time like this? I'd love to read them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if this resonated with you, please consider liking the video and subscribing for more stories. See you next time. Remember the winters in Canada back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? They were harsh, no doubt about it, but they had this incredible way of bringing people together. When the snow fell thick overnight, you'd wake up to the sound of shovels, and it wasn't just your dad out there. It was the whole neighborhood, clearing the street together. Helping each other out was just automatic. Every yard had a snowman, a testament to the kids' creativity. We'd build these epic snow forts that would stand for weeks. The command centers for neighborhood-wide snowball fights. There were no cell phones to pull us away, no screens calling our names. It was just us, the snow, our imagination, and our friends. And when we were frozen solid, one of the moms would call everyone in for hot chocolate, not just for her own kids, but for all of us. If a car got stuck in a snowdrift, it wasn't a problem for long. Before you knew it, 5 people would just appear, ready to push. Nobody just drove by. It was a shared problem, and the solution was always community. Ice skating was a huge deal, too. Local ponds and rinks weren't just for a quick skate. They were community events. Entire families would be there, huddled around bonfires, sharing stories and laughter. The cold didn't drive us apart. It brought us closer. You'd invite neighbors in to warm up, lend a blanket, or share some firewood. Now, it feels like winter isolates us. We rush from our warm cars to our warm homes. Kids stay inside, glued to their games. The snow has become an inconvenience, not a shared adventure. It feels like we've lost some of that spirit, that magic of turning the cold into something beautiful together. And it wasn't just the winters. Remember television back then, when there were maybe 3 or 4 channels? It sounds limited now, but it meant we were all watching the same things. On Monday morning, at work or at school, you could talk to anyone about what was on TV over the weekend because you'd all seen it. Hockey night in Canada wasn't just a game. It was a national ritual. You could feel the unity, knowing millions of other Canadians were watching the exact same play at the exact same moment. Families actually gathered in the living room. There was no Netflix in separate bedrooms. We had one TV, and everyone watched together. Kids on the floor, parents on the couch, a big bowl of popcorn passed around. Saturday morning cartoons were sacred. Every kid in the country woke up early to watch the same shows, and on Monday at school, you could dissect every episode. The Christmas specials were major events. The whole family would settle in to watch the same classics year after year. Nobody complained. It was tradition. Today, we have endless options. Everyone watches what they want, when they want, often alone. We gained a universe of choice, but we might have lost that shared experience. We lost those common conversations, that simple, powerful thread that connected us all. What do you miss most about those times? Let me know in the comments below. It's always great to reminisce together. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching. Do you remember when a simple afternoon was enough to make you happy? No elaborate plans, no need to spend a lot of money. You just lived. After lunch, kids would vanish from their homes, only to reappear when the streetlights flickered on. They played in the streets, in the parks, in those forgotten vacant lots. They built forts, explored hidden trails, and invented games out of thin air. Meanwhile, adults would sit on their porches, a newspaper resting in their lap. They'd chat with anyone who walked by, tend to their gardens, or just watch the world go by. Weekends meant a drive out to the countryside, a simple picnic on a checkered blanket. The kids would run wild and free. Nobody ever got bored, because nobody expected to be constantly entertained. Life was slower then. There was time to think, time to breathe, time to simply exist. Meals were unhurried affairs. The whole family would gather around the table, sharing stories about their day. No rush, no glowing screens demanding our attention. It feels like a lifetime ago, doesn't it? Today, everyone is always busy, always rushing. We're constantly connected, yet somehow always feel a little bit alone. Kids seem to need an organized activity for every waking hour. Adults are working longer, resting less. It feels like that simplicity, that innate ability to find pure joy in the smallest of things, has somehow slipped through our fingers. And so many of us spend our entire lives chasing a happiness we don't realize we already had. Back in those simple, golden afternoons. So, what happened? Where did that Canada go? The truth is, it wasn't one single thing, but a storm of many changes all at once. Our cities grew, and they grew fast. Familiar neighbors slowly became strangers. The economy shifted, and people started working longer hours, often far from home. Mothers, who were once the anchors of their neighborhoods, creating those vital support networks, began working outside the home not always by choice, but out of necessity. Then came technology. Computers, the internet, smartphones. They brought us incredible things, connected us to the world, but they also built invisible walls around us. We can now talk to someone on the other side of the planet, but we don't know the name of the person living right next door. The small, local shops we grew up with were replaced by massive corporations. Everything became more efficient, sure, but it also became less human. At the same time, Canada opened its arms to the world. New cultures brought a beautiful richness to our country, but that automatic sense of community, where everyone shared a similar background, became harder to find. We started living side by side, but not always understanding each other in the same deep way. The cost of living skyrocketed. A house, a home, became a financial mountain to climb. People had to move away from the towns where their families had lived for generations. The roots that held our communities together were pulled up. And maybe, just maybe, our own priorities shifted. We started to value privacy more, individuality, convenience. We gained a lot from that. There's no denying it. But we lost that profound sense of belonging, that feeling of being truly home. And that, right there, is the price of progress. It leaves many of us wondering, was it worth it? Now, some might say, why keep looking back? The past is gone, and they're right. That Canada isn't coming back. But remembering isn't the same as being stuck in the past. Remembering is about understanding what we've lost, because when you understand what you've lost, you can start trying to get a little piece of it back. You can still get to know your neighbors. You can still knock on their door with a plate of cookies. You can still choose to support that small, local business on the corner. You can still turn off your phone and have a real conversation with your family. You can still find a patch of grass and let the kids just play without a schedule. You can still choose to slow down. Remembering also honors those times. It honors the people who lived that way, our parents, our grandparents. They built our communities with their own two hands. They created that welcoming, warm Canada we hold so dear. Their stories deserve to be told, to be cherished. And for those of us who were lucky enough to live through those years, remembering brings comfort. It reminds us we're not alone in feeling this way. It validates that there was a time when things were different, when we were different. So yes, Canada has changed, but the memories remain. And as long as we hold on to them, a part of that Canada will always live on right here inside of us. Thank you for watching and for taking this journey back with me. If this video touched your heart, please subscribe for more memories like this. And let me know in the comments, what is your favorite memory of old Canada?